Goodfellas changed gangster movies forever, but even the biggest fans don't know everything that went on behind the scenes. From real mobsters and near-death moments to shocking improvisations and casting twists, the making of this film was just as wild as the story it told. Get ready. Here are 20 weird facts about Goodfellas that will make you see this classic in a whole new way. Fact 1. Paulie slept with Henry Hill's wife in real life. Paulie Cicero, the cool-headed boss in Goodfellas, was based on real mobster Paul Vario. And the truth was even darker. Henry Hill later claimed that while he was in prison, Vario had an affair with his wife, Karen. Though left out of the film, author Nicholas Pileggi confirmed it during his Wise Guy research, a betrayal that helped drive Henry to turn on the mob. Fact 2. The unsolved Lufthansa heist. The famous Lufthansa heist in Goodfellas was based on a real 1978 robbery that's still unsolved. James "Jimmy the Gent." Burke's crew stole $6 million in cash and jewels from JFK Airport, one of the biggest thefts in U.S. history. But greed turned to bloodshed when Burke started killing off anyone who might talk. At least 10 people tied to the job were murdered, and the money was never found. Even decades later, the stolen fortune and its secrets remain missing. Fact 3. Michael Imperioli's spider injury sent him to the ER. During the infamous scene where Tommy shoots Spider, actor Michael Imperioli suffered a real injury. He slipped during a take, crashed into a glass bar, and badly cut his hand. Rushed to the ER and still covered in fake blood, doctors thought he'd been shot for real. Imperioli quickly explained, No, I'm an actor. I just cut my hand." After stitches, he returned to set, finishing one of Goodfellas' most unforgettable scenes. Fact 4. Breaking editing rules for impact. The chaotic ending of Goodfellas, with Henry Hill spiraling as helicopters follow him, broke nearly every Hollywood editing rule. Editor Thelma Schoonmaker used jump cuts, jarring music shifts, and overlapping dialogue to mirror his paranoia. When test audiences found it too intense, she leaned in even harder, crafting a full-blown cinematic panic attack that became one of the film's most iconic moments. Fact 5. Henry Hill was kicked out of witness protection. After testifying against the mob, Henry Hill joined the FBI's witness protection program in 1980 with his wife Karen and their kids. But staying hidden wasn't his style. He kept revealing his identity, giving interviews, and getting arrested on drug charges, until the FBI finally kicked him out in the early 90s. Even then, Hill stayed in the spotlight, writing books, launching his Wise Guy pasta sauce, and making TV appearances until his death in 2012. Fact 6. 10 violent scenes had to be cut. When Goodfellas was first submitted to the MPAA in 1990, it was so violent it nearly got an NC-17 rating, a move that would have killed its release. Scorsese and editor Thelma Schoonmaker trimmed 10 brutal moments, including the Billy Bats beating and Spider's execution, shortening scenes instead of removing them. The cuts worked. Goodfellas kept its raw edge, earned an R rating, and went on to become one of the most powerful and shocking films ever made. Fact 7. A real prosecutor played himself. The prosecutor in Goodfellas wasn't an actor. He was the real U.S. attorney from Henry Hill's case. Edward McDonald asked Scorsese, "Why not let me play me?" After a quick screen test, he got the part. His calm, no-nonsense performance came naturally. He was simply doing what he'd done in real life. McDonald later joked, "I was one of the few people in Goodfellas who didn't need acting lessons." His cameo added a rare touch of authenticity, blurring the line between true crime and cinema. Fact 8. Lorraine Bracco almost said no to Karen Hill. When Lorraine Bracco was offered the role of Karen Hill, she initially turned it down. "I didn't want to play another mobster's wife," she said, worried the part would be flat and forgettable. But after reading the script, Scorsese and casting director Ellen Lewis convinced her otherwise, Karen wasn't just a background character, but the film's emotional center and one of Scorsese's only female narrators. Bracco later admitted she was fascinated by Karen's complexity, a woman both drawn to and terrified by the mob world. Her bold choice paid off. She earned an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress in 1991. Fact 9. The real-life brutality behind Billy Batts's murder. The beating of Billy Batts is one of Goodfellas' most disturbing scenes, sudden, vicious, and shockingly real. After Batts taunts Tommy DeVito with "Go get your shine box," Tommy snaps and beats him senseless, setting off a deadly chain of events. According to Henry Hill, the real attack was almost identical. He said Tommy DeSimone hit Batts so hard he broke the handle of his gun. Hill described the scene years later on 60 Minutes and The Howard Stern Show, calling it pure rage. Even mobsters were horrified, and the murder of a made man eventually led to Tommy's own disappearance and presumed execution. Fact 10. Robert De Niro's obsession with getting Jimmy Conway right. While Ray Liotta studied FBI tapes to perfect Henry Hill's voice, Robert De Niro went even further. To fully embody Jimmy Conway, based on real mobster Jimmy the Gent Burke, De Niro personally contacted Henry Hill while Hill was still in witness protection. With FBI-approved, monitored calls, he asked questions like, "How did Jimmy hold his cigarette?" and "What did he do with his hands when he talked?" Hill recalled, "He'd call me 2-3 times a day. He wanted every tiny detail." De Niro's obsession paid off. His portrayal of Jimmy Conway remains one of the most chilling depictions of quiet, controlled violence in movie history. Fact 11. 8 takes for the Copacabana shot. One of Goodfellas' most famous moments is the 3-minute tracking shot where Henry Hill leads Karen through the back of the Copacabana, downstairs, through a busy kitchen, and into the club, all in one seamless take. The idea came from a single line in Wise Guy, where Henry mentioned using the kitchen entrance. Scorsese turned it into a cinematic masterpiece to show Karen's awe and Henry's power. Ironically, it wasn't planned. The front door was blocked, so the crew improvised. With a Steadicam, operator Larry McConkey followed the actors through tight spaces as everything moved in perfect sync. After 8 takes, they finally nailed it, creating one of the most iconic shots in movie history. Fact 12. Listening to FBI tapes to bring Henry Hill to life. Ray Liotta didn't just play Henry Hill. He studied him. To capture Hill's voice and paranoia, Liotta listened to real FBI tapes of Hill's interviews and wiretaps while driving to set each day. "I'd listen to him talk and talk, the way he told a story, the little things he emphasized," Liotta said. The result was a raw, authentic performance that perfectly captured Hill's nervous charm, proving Liotta's commitment to getting every detail right. Fact 13. People walked out. During the first 10 minutes. At Goodfellas' first test screening in 1990, audience members began walking out within minutes, overwhelmed by the violence and profanity. One Warner Brothers executive even turned pale during the brutal Billy Batts scene. Editor Thelma Schoonmaker recalled, "People were leaving before the story even began." But Scorsese wanted that reaction. "I wanted to seduce them with the style, then take them apart with it," he said. After a few tweaks, the film premiered to acclaim, redefining the gangster genre and cementing its place in movie history. Fact 14. The real Henry Hill confessed to murders years later. In Goodfellas, Henry Hill never kills anyone, but the real story was darker. In 2001, Hill told Howard Stern he'd murdered 3 people on orders from mob boss Paul Vario, saying, "Pileggi didn't know. I didn't trust anyone then." No charges were ever filed, but the confession shattered the film's illusion. The real Henry Hill was far more dangerous than the version on screen. Fact 15. The real Henry Hill helped make the movie. Even in witness protection, Henry Hill stayed close to Goodfellas' production. He worked as a consultant, earning nearly $500,000, and gave De Niro and Liotta key insights into their roles. Based on Nicholas Pileggi's Wise Guy, the film drew heavily from Hill's own stories. Despite his hidden status, Hill couldn't stay out of the spotlight, doing interviews, launching a pasta sauce brand, and even posing with Liotta for Entertainment Weekly. His first-hand input made Goodfellas feel as real as the life it portrayed. Fact 16. Funny how? The scene that wasn't in the script. One of Goodfellas' most famous moments, the funny how, like I'm a clown, scene, wasn't scripted at all. Joe Pesci based it on a real encounter where a mobster turned threatening after being called funny. Scorsese loved the story and told Pesci and Ray Liotta to improvise it. Their unscripted tension was so real that Liotta's reaction came from genuine fear. That raw energy and the chilling silence that followed turned a casual line into one of the most unforgettable scenes in movie history. Fact 17. The comedy version of Goodfellas. Just a month before Goodfellas premiered, audiences got a comedic take on the same story. My Blue Heaven. Written by Nora Ephron, wife of Wise Guy author Nicholas Pileggi, it starred Steve Martin as a mobster in witness protection inspired by Henry Hill. Ephron and Pileggi even wrote their scripts side by side, crafting two wildly different versions of the same life, one funny, one brutal. Fact 18. The real Tommy DeSimone was nothing like Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito. Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito was short, volatile, and unforgettable, but the real Tommy DeSimone was nothing like him. In reality, DeSimone was 6 feet 2 inches, over 200 pounds, and so violent that even mobsters feared him. Henry Hill called him a psychopath with a terrifying temper. He murdered at least 2 people without permission, including Billy Batts and Ronald Foxy Girothi, breaking mafia rules and sealing his own fate. Lured to a meeting and killed in retribution, DeSimone vanished without a trace. He was officially declared dead in 1990, the same year Goodfellas premiered. Fact 19. Scorsese's family appears in the movie. One of Goodfellas' most personal touches comes from Martin Scorsese's own family. His mother, Catherine, played Tommy's kind, unsuspecting mom, the one serving pasta after the Billy Batts beating. She even cooked the real sauce used in the prison dinner scene because Scorsese didn't trust the props department to get it right. His father, Charles, pressed the actors' shirts for that perfect mobster look and appeared on screen slicing garlic beside Paulie Cicero. Scorsese once said he used his parents because they understood authenticity better than anyone, and it shows. Fact 20. 6 nominations, 1 win. Despite its acclaim, Goodfellas came up short at the 1991 Oscars. It earned 6 nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, but won only 1. Joe Pesci took home Best Supporting Actor for his explosive role as Tommy DeVito. His entire speech? It is my privilege. Thank you, one of the shortest in Oscar history, and one of the most deserved. And there you have it. Which of these Goodfellas facts surprised you most? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden stories from cinema's greatest classics. Before you go, check out the other videos on your screen. You're going to love it.